Welcome back to session 9 of the Recruitment Business Accelerator Program. Now we're going to be talking about leadership and succession. This is an extremely important topic because the success or failure of any business depends on its leaders who are out there at the forefront, coaching, mentoring, driving, and helping their teams to grow and improve and generate additional business for growth and maintain a high quality of deliverability to clients and candidates. And what is also important in this discussion is succession. How are you as an owner of a recruitment business going to provide succession for yourself so that you have more time to spend working on the business, not in the business? How the business is going to be less reliant just on you, and that you have other leaders coming up through the ranks that can lead the team so that you can grow the business. It's very difficult to grow a recruitment business if there's a single leader managing a lot of people. It requires, just as the military has, a level of seniority and the ability for leaders to manage smaller teams, because they can then manage more effectively and communication can be better, and there's less reliant then on one single leader. Okay, let's talk about leadership specifically for the recruitment industry. Now, there's lots and lots of information out there on leadership, and I do encourage you to Google great leadership or attributes of great leaders. Do a little bit of research, because it'll really inspire you about leadership on what is good and what's not so good. Because the problem that we've got in the recruitment industry is that many of us have learned about leadership not through training or coaching, but we've learned through the leaders that we've had in our past career roles. We've learned what we like about their leadership style, and we've learned what we don't like, and we've adjusted our own styles based on that. Now, this can be quite flawed because we don't know whether the leadership styles we're emulating were actually good or not, really. We don't know whether some of the poor leadership behaviours were actually that poor, or whether at times some firmness was needed to make sure that people were doing what was required of them. So there's a little bit of work to be done to work out what gaps there are in your leadership style, and also what gaps there are in your people's leadership style, because more often than not, people come up through the ranks in recruitment, they're great recruiters, and then suddenly they find themselves in leadership positions with very little training. And this is extremely dangerous, and one of the reasons that we probably have such high turnover in the recruitment industry, because we're in effect putting salespeople in very senior leadership positions way too quickly before they've had the proper training, coaching, and support around what good leadership really means, because they're really just drawing on their past experiences and then changing their style to match what they think is great leadership, but may actually not be really good leadership. So let's talk about some of the attributes of good leadership in the context of leading a great recruitment company. So how do we first of all learn about becoming a great leader? And really, it's important, I believe, for all leaders to do some form of leadership training, some sort of course that really goes through all the attributes of what makes a great leader, but also how it reflects on leading a recruitment business. I think it's important that if you can get both in a leadership course, and I can certainly help you with that, if you can get both in a leadership course, that'll be even more powerful. And we really need to understand what is important, what's just noise, and try and have some consistency in leadership training and some communication of staff expectations from leaders, so everybody is consistent and in sync with each other around leadership to achieve those goals that you've set earlier in the program. I found this infographic. I think it's a really good description of the differences between a boss and a leader, and it also helps us understand what good leadership looks like. So down in the left-hand column, you'll see a boss drives employees. He or she commands, generates fear, relies on authority to get things done, uses people, says I all the time, knows how it should be done, blames people, undermines people, and just says go. Now, many of us have had past leaders that we should really actually be calling bosses that operate in this style. They don't take true responsibility. They don't lead from the front. They're always managing based on fear and authority, and they're not being true leaders. And for the definition of a true leader, and this is something that you can use personally and also to take through with your team leaders, a great leader coaches people. We see it in the military, we see it in sporting teams, we see it in other group leadership scenarios. It's all about coaching. It's about asking questions and getting feedback. A great leader inspires, and they inspire enthusiasm. They rely on goodwill of their people, which is around loyalty and that people follow them and do things because they respect them. They develop people. They really do spend time trying to help people become better, and they phrase improvement in a really, really constructive manner that does support people's growth. They use the word we a lot and not I. They show how it's done. They're out there in the field. They're meeting with clients. They're meeting with candidates. They're doing the occasional recruitment assignment to keep their hand in what's happening in the industry so that they do generate the respect of their own staff, but also they can generate great new business opportunities, and they can also have the ability to get good feedback from what's happening in the marketplace. They repair problems, they fix things, they do what they say they're going to do. They empower people to be great, to get out there, to make mistakes, to do their best and to grow and improve. And finally, instead of just saying go, they say, let us go. Let's go together out there to build, grow, and improve the recruitment business. One of the biggest issues in the recruitment industry, and one of the biggest feedback points I get from people that do leave recruitment companies, especially recruitment consultants, and even senior managers such as general managers, is that there is a lot of micromanagement that happens in our industry. I think it's important everyone has goals, they have activity targets, but the constant checking and nitpicking of command and control leaders in our industry is a big cause of staff turnover. And a lot of leaders don't know that they're doing it. And they're doing it because they are scared. They are scared things will get out of control. They're scared they don't have enough information about what's happening and what's going on with their teams, that they constantly check up, undermine, and make people feel that they're being micromanaged. And then eventually what people will do is they'll either leave because they don't like that style of management and they'll go to a competitor or another recruitment company, or they will just become really poor performers who are just going through the motions and doing the bare minimum to collect their wage and any possible bonuses or commissions that come with that. So micromanagement is something that has to be avoided at absolute all cost. And when we talk about micromanagement, we're talking about nitpicking, we're talking about constant checking up, and we're talking about drilling down and really focusing way too much on the really small details and not letting people getting on with their job. I do believe in checking in with people at the beginning of the week. Right, what's your plan for the week? What are you trying to achieve? What activities do you need to do to be successful, to make a placement this week, if you like? And then end of the week, a debrief. And these meetings can be really, really short. They're short, but they're regular. And the debrief at the end of the week focuses on, okay, what happened? What worked? What didn't work? What can you be doing different next time? How did you go against your activity measures and targets that you set for yourself? How did you go against them? What do you need to do differently next week so that you'll be achieving what you set out to achieve? And that sort of coaching and helping people to really improve and reach the targets that they set themselves is what true coaching and true leadership is all about. And with performance reviews, it's a little bit controversial, but I really don't believe in performance reviews. I think they are really confrontational. They don't bring out the best in people. Everyone dreads them. Managers or leaders dread them, and staff dread them as well. I believe in quarterly business planning, getting together with people once a quarter, slightly longer meeting than your weekly meeting. And this is why a leader can't have 30 or 40 staff reporting to them, because there's no way they'll get through all these coaching meetings. You do need to have team leaders and lieutenants down the chain to be able to do this for you as a senior leader of a recruitment company. Otherwise, you won't be able to grow a great recruitment company. But quarterly planning, I believe, is a great replacement for performance reviews. So everyone has their own personal 1 or 2 page business plan. It's a personal plan. As we talked about before, they link their personal goals with their business goals, and then they constantly check back on how they're achieving those goals. So we can look at, okay, what happened this quarter? What worked? What didn't work? How'd you go against target? How are your activities to reach target? What can you be doing better? What did you learn? What extra resources do you need so that you can achieve what you set out to achieve? What support can we as leaders be giving to these people to help them next quarter do really well? Annual is way too long. Quarterly is much better. And then you have your weekly one-on-ones with people that either you do if you're running a small team, or your team leaders are doing it to build that relationship, build that rapport, and check that people are on track. Because one of the biggest things I've learned over the years, if people get off track for too long, it's almost impossible rather, for them to get back on track again, even if they're experienced. Once they've lost their enthusiasm and their motivation, it's really hard to get that back. So constant guiding and coaching, really important here. Okay, and around leadership, this is something that's not talked about as much, but I wanted to put it out to you that as we talked about before, just because someone's been a very successful recruiter doesn't mean that they're going to be a really good leader. So what can happen is you bring a great recruiter into a business, make them a leader, and they stop recruiting, and suddenly those billings just disappear that person is capable of bringing in, and they're struggling with the leadership function. Yes, they are proven that they've been great recruiters, but they're not proven as great leaders. So more often than not, I really advise helping people to play to their strengths. If someone is a great recruiter, put them in a recruitment position. Give them some leadership training and some career progression for them to be able to step up and be able to become a leader, but make that a staged process. Give them the tools so that they are successful, because otherwise they will struggle themselves, but also cause turnover in your business. And even yourself, if you were a great recruiter and you've started your own recruitment business, think about what your strengths are and what you enjoy about the industry. If you came into the industry because you just love recruitment, then it's important to free yourself up as a leader so that you can spend time recruiting. It is no loss of face for a CEO of a recruitment business to be recruiting at a senior level. And many good companies do have their most senior people recruiting because that's what their passion is. That's what they love. That's how they keep in touch with the market. And that's how they lead from the front and are able to be better leaders. You can get administrators in that can handle all that small stuff, but it is such a waste of resources having senior leaders doing administration and doing activities that don't lead to increasing the performance of individuals in the business as a whole. So look at everyone's strengths as well. We've talked about supporting recruiters with resourcing so that they can bill more. And I think this is really important. Support people that are great recruiters but not good at business development. Support them to be great at business development so that they're playing to their strengths, which might be recruitment. And just as a very strong business development person who's quite good at building relationships and developing new business, don't make them do boring admin, because they will get bored, they will get frustrated, and they will look for other opportunities. So have in your mind to have everyone as a leader really playing to their strengths, but also the teams that you or your team leaders are leading should be playing to their strengths also. We can't talk about leadership without talking about communication. Communication is the absolute cornerstone of good leadership. It's another reason that people that leave recruitment companies cite for wanting to go. They feel like they're not communicated to. They feel like they're cut out of decision making. They feel like they don't understand the big picture. They need regular updates so that they know what's happening. And it doesn't have to be every little detail. It can be overviews. Okay, this is what's happening. This is what we're considering. No surprises. Put it out there that you're considering changing your recruitment management system because you've had many complaints about the current one. Ease people into it. Don't just make massive change. Change management skills are really important here, and when you are looking to do major change, please update your skills and knowledge on change management by looking at what good change looks like and good change management looks like. But have it so there's no surprises. Have it that there's no secret meetings going on. There's nothing worse than seeing a closed door with two senior leaders in there and they've shut the door suddenly and talking about something, that could be anything. It could be they're talking about what they're having for lunch. You don't know. But if you're a staff member, you might think that they're talking about you or that there's a major problem going on. So open door policy, really important. If there is something that's really major to talk about, maybe it's best done offsite, away from the office, so that people don't feel like that there's secret meetings going on. And this is something I've seen a lot of in the recruitment industry. And the more we can have a more open policy around communication, the better. And leaders that are out on the floor amongst their teams will pick up so much more about what's going on. And you also find that teams respond better to having their leaders out in the marketplace as well. They will see that you're out there leading by example. They will probably pick up their game. They're less likely to slack off. They're less likely to look at social media if senior leaders are out there with them. But if senior leaders are always locked away behind closed doors, then it's more likely that they are tempted to get distracted and not focus on what's important to make placements, which is the ultimate goal of any great recruiter. Finally, people like to be included in decision making. If big change is happening, do get people's feedback. I like doing staff feedback surveys once a year. What's working, what's not working, and is there any feedback you can be giving us? What training do you require? What new opportunities are you seeing that we're missing as a business? But more importantly, if you are doing staff feedback surveys, and it's good to get them externally done for credibility as well, you need to really report on what the feedback was and be honest about that feedback. And then even more importantly, you need to take action on that feedback. Too many of us have worked in companies in the past, particularly big companies, that do staff feedback surveys, and then they take no action from the information that they've gathered. So people become really skeptical whenever there is a survey that comes out and just go through the motions, and it has a reverse effect. It actually demotivates people and adds no inspiration whatsoever. And finally, around communication, communicate firmly. Don't be fluffy about your communication. Don't beat around the bush. You can be direct, you can be polite about it, but communicate in a way that's quite firm. Hey, we've got all your feedback. This won't be popular with everyone. We know that, but we've really looked in the pros and cons into the pros and cons of this decision, and this is how we came this is how we came about making this decision, and this is what we're going to do. Let's work together to really make sure that we implement it correctly, because it will overall help the business as a whole. So in terms of leadership style, I tried to think of how we'd summarize it into one adage, if you like, or one really a mantra that great leaders can inspire to or aspire to. And this is one that is one of my favorites over the years. A great leader will be firm, they will be fair, and they will be friendly. And I think you can't go wrong if you use this mantra: firm, fair, and friendly. Firm decision-making, firm direction, but it's fair. No one's disadvantaged. They have collected and communicated and really got people's input. They're out there really understanding what the market looks like and what the impact of their decision-making and leadership will take, and they're friendly about it. I think it doesn't hurt to be friendly. We've seen leaders that are quite angry in their approach and managed by fear. You can still be a great leader and be friendly about it. So firm, fair, and friendly. I hope that's a useful one for you, because I really believe over the years it's really helped me reduce staff turnover and increase the performance of the teams that I've had, and I'm sure it'll be the same for you. All right, and around leadership and succession, we'll start talking about succession in a minute, but great leaders need to be really spending time working on the business and not be caught up in the admin that I talked about, the minor details, the small fires, the large fires. It's important that you as a senior leader are really focusing your time on these following 5 things. You need to be coaching your people, and if you've got a larger team, you need to have team leaders that are performing that coaching function. So you're going to need to train your team leaders in how to coach and run them through something like what we're talking about here so that they understand all the nuances that are important to be great leaders. You need to be out there with clients. So you, as a senior leader, are going to be so much better at getting appointments with major clients. Major clients are going to really want to hear from you, and they're going to be flattered that you spend time with them and make contact with them, because they might only be dealing with recruiters at a more junior level. So important for you to get out there in front of clients. It's important because you'll get feedback. You will pick up new work because clients will open up and say, well, actually, I'm looking to do this, this, and this. So important to get out of your office. I see too many recruitment leaders stuck in the office, administrators doing a lot of administration, fighting fires, in constant meetings. That is wasting time and is wasting productivity. Your best people should be out in the marketplace, meeting with people, because that's what recruitment is all about. You should also be working on growth. How can you be growing the business? How can you be growing your teams so that they have succession themselves within the team, so that people are able to grow and do better at what they're doing every year? How can you do that? How can you be implementing training programs? How can you be adding new services to your business, or new verticals, or new approaches to the marketplace to grow the business? Because the more you grow the business, the less reliant it becomes on any one client or any one person or any one market, and it also helps to guard against economic downturn, as we talk to, and we'll talk a bit more about that later as well. But improvement as well. You want to be freed up to really look at your recruitment processes, look at the way the business is operating. How do you make it easier for people to make placements? Is a really good question for you to be asking yourself. How can you help people to make more placements, to improve their billings? How do you help them every year to do better and better, so that they're working their way up through a stream, whether it's a recruitment career path, or whether it's a leadership career path, or a business development career path, or even an office management career path? How are you helping people to do that? How are you helping yourself to grow and improve, your people to grow and improve, and for the business to grow and improve? And as I've mentioned before, a big part of that is outsourcing low-level administration. It's a waste of time. Get some good reporting in place, get some good support, whether it's outsourced or whether it's in-house. Get good support to free up your best people so that they can be great leaders and help you to grow and improve the business. So succession's all about, first of all, working on yourself. How do you help make the business not so reliant on you as a leader? And this is one of the biggest issues that many recruitment leaders face in the marketplace. They struggle to grow their business because they can't work out how to replace themselves, either as a great recruiter or themselves as a great leader as well. And all businesses need to reduce their reliance on any one person. And just because you're the owner of the business, it doesn't mean that you don't need to have succession in place in case something happens. And in life, things do happen. There's so many things that can happen. Sickness is a great one. You should be asking yourself, what happens if you were sick for 3 months and you couldn't go to work for 3 months? Who's going to step into your shoes? Who's going to replace you in the business so the business carries forward and it still maintains its level of profitability? So look at that. And in terms of business value for future exit or succession, the reduced reliance on senior leaders and senior billers, as we talked about before, is really important, because obviously you want a business that is either saleable long-term, or a business that is an asset that's generating revenue for you as an owner or a senior leader long after you're not in the role of being a senior leader. You want the business to continue regardless. And I think that's something that is really missing in our industry and something that we need to do some work on. And I hope this program is really helping you to do that, to make sure that the business is working for you and not you're working for the business. Otherwise, you're better off having no risk and go work for somebody else. But running a recruitment company is exciting. And if it's done correctly, it has tremendous rewards attached to it. So succession for your team leaders as well. Ask yourself what happens if you lose your biggest biller, your most important team leader. What will you do? Have you got someone ready to step up? Are you recruiting new people with having it in the back of your mind that they have potential leadership capability? If they don't, that's great. Put them through the recruitment path or stream. But if they've got leadership potential, please develop them and have them ready to step in. Think about what parts of your own leadership can be delegated or can be used as training for potential leaders, for them to have a go at leadership. Some of those things that we talked about before, getting them in front of clients more, coaching more, and helping the business as a whole to be growing, so it's not just reliant on one particular person. Career progression and career paths, I've alluded to it, really important in succession. And think about those different streams of career enhancement or career progression that everyone in the business can have, and talk to them about it at their quarterly reviews. Okay, where do you want to get to as an individual? Let's help you to get there in the longer term so that they don't have to move to another company to get that all-important career progression. You want to be able to provide that career progression within your own organization. Otherwise, you will have staff leaving you and not performing at their optimal level. And look, a final word on leadership. It's a really big topic, but I just wanted to share with you some of the most important things that I've learned over the years, and to give you a bit of a base before you go through the worksheet that follows and the exercises that you'll be doing based on where you're at and where your business is at. But just remember, firm, fair, and friendly. You can't go wrong with that mantra. And in addition to that, I found a really good quote as well. A great leader knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. So I think that really summarizes what leadership is about, and a great way for you to be asking yourself and your leaders, are you doing that? Do you know the way? Have you done good planning? Have you really got a great plan and some good goals in place? Are you implementing actions to achieve that plan? And are you leading from the front? Are your leaders in your business showing the way so that the rest of your teams are following on? Okay, so that's the end of session 9. So we only have one more to go after this, which is session 10, the final session. So please complete your worksheet for session 9. There's a few extra resources in there as well. And then we are ready to start session 10. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you got a lot of great information out of this session.